Alexa, what is the time and date?
It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 1:12 p.m.
Hello, my name is Kristian Naugle. I'm going to do another guitar practice video for you today. A lot of times I do these at night, but I'm going to do it during the daytime. So it's going to be a bit noisier because I live, there's streets like just right there. The traffic capital of planet Earth. It seems like just a moderate-sized town, Corydon, Indiana, and this street that just goes out to like nowhere, sort of. And you get, I forget how many cars per hour. You get like state road highway, like Highway 135 and Highway 337. Volume of traffic through this street that just goes from town to just out nowhere. I mean, it's not even a highway. It's not even a main road. It runs parallel to Highway 62. You'd think people would drive through there, but yeah, they don't. And you'll probably hear every car that goes by. Anyway, so it just kind of annoys me because I got a good deal on this house back in 2014. In downtown Corydon, what was available, it was really about the best deal. A lot of actually almost all the electrical had been updated. Same thing as plumbing. This house is, some of the insurance paperwork said it was built in 1940. Some of the bank sent out an appraiser. They said, some of the paperwork said 1900, but then they believe it could be older than that because it's got a stone foundation, like a cut stone. Who knows? But this house is about 100 years old, maybe 120 years old. And a lot of the other houses in the area really needed their electricity updated, to just safer wiring, safer outlets. And I got lucky with this house, so anyway, just the traffic is just me nitpicking. Anyway, yeah, my name is Kristian Naugle. I've been into the guitar for less than a year. It's been almost 11 months since I started playing again. I took almost an entire, well, this last decade, the 2010s, I only played for maybe about a year out of the whole decade, you know. First 3 months of 2010, a little bit here and there, you know, not like every day. And then, what was it? And then in the fall of 2014 and then early 2015, I played a little bit, just very casually. Then I never touched the guitar again, like literally, like I never even opened up the guitar case. And then when I got out this guitar, this is my Kramer Striker Custom, model 424CM. The strings are really rusty on it. I had been looking on some websites for some guitars, and that's when I found the Jackson Pro Series Soloist SL2Q MAH in the beautiful Caribbean Blue Fade. And then everybody thinks that guitar is me. I mean, a friend of mine up in Idaho, Tommy, he said that no matter where he is in the United States, he said that if he saw that guitar sitting in a guitar holder, like a guitar stand on stage, he would think that I was nearby. He would think that I was at that venue or whatever place it was. He said he cannot envision anybody else owning or playing that guitar. And, I mean, for good reason. I was literally the first person on all of YouTube to upload a video with that guitar. I mean, there's other people that have had that model of guitar, the Jackson Pro Series Soloist SL2Q MAH, but never in the Caribbean Blue Fade. The most popular color was the Northern Lights, which was a sunburst color like this, but it was purple sunburst with blue in the middle, and it was really nice. I almost bought that guitar. I really liked the way it looked, but I'm not a really big sunburst person, because you see it looks like a red line here and then it just goes to amber. I don't like how companies do that. I like more color banding, more progressive color. So I would like a red, then like an orange, and then an orange yellow, and then to amber. I would like at least 3 to 4 color bands, and just more of a progression. That's why fade colors, fading from one color to another, have become so popular. And in 2019 was the first time I seen what I call tropical themed guitars. These companies start with a beach, water kind of theme, and that Jackson that I got is like that, where it starts out, it almost looks black. It's like such a deep blue, it almost looks black. Then it's royal blue, and it's a nice medium blue. Then it goes to turquoise, and it's a nice fade. It's a little too aggressive of a fade. It needs to be more transition, but it still looks good. And then it has a mahogany body, and I love how it's got, that Jackson guitar has a white binding. And when I have it sitting in a guitar stand, and it looks like the guitar was cut out of a slab of cake. It looks like a nice lighter brown, maybe a German chocolate cake or whatever. And then that white binding looks like the thickness of the icing. Like when the knife cuts through it, you obviously are going to see the layer of icing. And then the blue, from royal blue to turquoise blue, color transition looks like it was airbrushed on the icing. Oh, that guitar looks so good. Oh my gosh, I had to have it. I mean, it's $1,000 guitar, plus I put another $300 into it with pickups and labor to kind of customize it. And the pickups I chose were the DiMarzio Evolution Bridge Humbucker, the DP159, and the DiMarzio Evolution Neck Humbucker, DP158. That Jackson became the second guitar that I had that setup in, and I really like it. My personality really matches with that. So there's lots of good pickups out there. I mean, there's at least 2 other sets of pickups I'd like to have in my guitars. But I keep coming back to that DiMarzio Evolution neck and bridge. It really fits my personal expression really well. But anyway, that Jackson, the second color you see most popular on YouTube of that Jackson Pro Series Soloist SL2Q MAH was the Winter Storm. Of course, it's a quilt maple top, and then it's just a translucent white. Let's see. Yeah. So, and then another color was it's like purple and white sunburst, which looks disgusting. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I never bought that. But in July, early July of 2019, I bought that Jackson guitar and I uploaded a video. And yeah, I looked around. I was the first person on YouTube that I can find that uploaded a video of that color guitar. Now I'm seeing Ibanez, and then I think Dean are making guitars with that blue fade color, where when you do it on a figured maple body, like on that Jackson that I got, which you might have seen in some of my other YouTube videos, it looks like the deep water, and then it gets shallow, and then it gets really shallow right up to the sand. And what I wish, now I knew that, well, that guitar has a maple neck, but I wish it had a maple fretboard. Maybe it doesn't have to be as brightly colored as this fretboard. I mean, maybe roasted maple is one of the new things. I think they heat it, and it kind of caramelizes the wood just a little bit to make it more of a sandy blonde. To have that on the fretboard, and the neck, I think would be really good, because it would look like sand and the beach, and then you got the water, you know, and it gets darker as it gets deeper, and oh, that would look just so beautiful. Now, Ibanez, with one of the RG series, it's one of the RG premiums, and I forget the model number, is just, oh, it's the best one I've seen yet of the beach scenery kind of thing. So, they'll have burled poplar wood, top wood, and which to me looks like rock formations, like a light brown rock formation that's just been attacked by erosion from water washing up on the beach. That's what it reminds me of. My friends think it looks like dog turds on the sand, and that's stupid, and they're just trying to aggravate me. They have fun with it. They call it the poop guitar, and that's really sad because they know I like that guitar a lot. But what Ibanez does is, like, around this part of the body, they have this really pretty turquoise blue, and then this part of the body they have the turquoise blue, and then here they let the wood be its natural color, kind of medium white sand color, by just putting a clear coat on there, and it looks so good. But once again, these companies are putting ebony fretboards on there, which ebony is a really good quality wood, and I like my Jackson that has it, but it's too dark. It does not match the beach scenery. On a different kind of guitar, it can look great. I mean, rosewood seems to be falling out of favor back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Excuse me, rosewood was really popular on guitars. Now, ebony is becoming kind of a choice wood. But I think roasted maple on the fretboard is really going to be perhaps more of what I like, or bird's eye maple. So now, as early as next year, 2021, I think you'll start seeing more of the sunset theme, where you're going to be seeing orange, pinks, and purples as color gradients. I've already have an idea for a guitar in my mind. If I had the just $4,000 or $5,000 to spend on a guitar, I would have it so beautifully elegant. I mean, I like black hardware, but then another thing that's really popular is that black nickel, which is just like a chrome. It's like a really kind of dark gray, darker medium gray chrome, which is like what my Jackson has. And that's fine, but I was thinking maybe gold would be good. And then you're starting to see gold-colored frets. I'm not sure how they got the metallurgy going on that to make them gold-colored, because frets take, they get a lot of wear on them from friction from the strings. And then, but of course I want a Floyd Rose double-locking tremolo, like a Floyd Rose style tremolo, like always. I really like them. This is the first guitar that I got the hand in. I got this in December of 2009, and then that Jackson Pro Series Soloist, I got it in early July of 2019. Alexa, set thermostat to 68 degrees.
The heat set to 68.
Anyway, Alexa, set thermostat to 67 degrees.
The heat set to 67.
But anyway, I don't like pickup rings like this. My Jackson has direct to body wood mounting of the pickups, which I really like. But yeah, I would love to just, oh man, I would just love it, like the beach at sunset with the pretty colors, the purple in the sky, the violet color in the sky, and then hot pink, and then orange, and then like golden yellow, amber color, and just and then of course I love turquoise blue waters. is just so deeply personal to me. That feeling of inner peace to me is like being on the beach at sunset. Sun just over the horizon, just at the horizon. And you got the black colored silhouettes of palm trees like in the foreground. And then in the background you got the sky is basically, it's nighttime up in the top of the sky. And you can see the stars, and then you got like the deep blue, like an indigo, then it becomes violet purple, then hot pink, and then golden yellow orange, or deeper orange, then golden yellow orange at the horizon. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And then in the background you hear it would normally be a loud rushing of waves, but it's so far away that it sounds just kind of faint. And then in the foreground you hear just the gentle rushing of water up against the beach, and it's just so gentle. And then you see the water would be a turquoise blue, but then because the angle you're looking at it and the lack of illumination on it, it looks kind of a deep indigo, almost black. And then like an indigo blue, but almost black. And then you see the little waves, and you see shimmering on the edge, on the tips of the waves, you see the beautiful golden color sunshine on there. Oh man, and sitting on this beach like in a lounge chair or a hammock, and then you got the tiki torches going to keep the bugs away, and then you have the beautiful scent of fragrant flowers, and then you hear in the background, just kind of behind you, you hear the gentle crackling of some firewood in the fire, and then you smell somebody's cooking food. And and it's just, oh my gosh, that's inner peace to me. That's just, that's where I want to be. Anyway, I've been having things on my mind. There's a person that's really special to me that I got on my mind as well right now. Her personality is just beautiful. Oh my gosh, she's diplomatic, she's caring, she's compassionate. She's kind of has the ability to be bold and firm, and very powerfully direct. Oh, just so deep and direct in conversation. Oh my gosh, this person's mind is like a masterpiece. And then their heart is so warm. Oh my gosh, this person is the only person I've ever experienced that causes such a powerful gravitational pull on me. Sometimes I get so emotional thinking about how lovely this person is, in contrast to how cold and inhumane so many people are in this world. And I practically idolize her. First person I've really encountered that's like that, and I'm 40 years old. I mean, there's people I like to varying degrees. Some people I connect pretty good with, but this person, oh my gosh, it's so deep. I told him that I think of them like an equal, but then again, that's not exactly accurate because I actually look up to them. I admire them like so much, like how a person so wonderful can exist in this world. And she reminds me so much of myself. But anyway, and her and I can have conversations, and her voice is so beautiful, so musically beautiful, a wonderful, beautiful, soft, feminine voice, but then it sounds like a clarinet and a saxophone blended together in the form of a female voice, and it's just, oh my gosh, like, I just, well, anyway, this person is somebody that means a lot to me, and I tell them that, and, but, anyway, they got their own life, and, my life has been such a mystery to me. And then last year, my boss at my job raised his voice at me and yelled at me. And told me that my problem is that I don't personally connect with people, and that was like a hit so hard on me, and it's put a crack in my shell. This shell of like my outward self, like what I projected myself to be. For decades, I built up a shell, an outer shell to bury my thoughts and feelings in. I just would project myself as being only about my hobbies, and just, it was just a shallow version of me. And, you know, with the way the world is, and so cold, and some people just overreact, and then there's all the, you know, emotional and psychological pollution put out in society by the activists of so many types, especially identity politics. Those people are so shallow and vapid. They can't fix any problem. They really can't. They're part of the problem, really. And they make this world so frigidly cold. They really do. And anyway, and then me being such a sensitive person, of course, me being eccentric and very unique, and being, living life as an anomaly. I've been told before that I'm a psychological anomaly. That was when I was 24 years old in 2004. And I have to go through life like this, and my life and its meaning and who I am was such a mystery to me. And I was just, to keep myself from upsetting anybody, and to just, I had buried my feelings and my emotions so deep within that shell. They were buried so deep that not even I was able to really see them and understand them. I couldn't even be honest with myself, let alone anybody else. You know, as I would try so hard to just not be a bother to anybody, you know, as I go through life. But when my boss at my job had told me that my problem is I don't personally connect with people, that was like putting a crack in my shell, and then the insides of what was in the shell started leaking out, and then circumstances started happening to me, when people started treating me a little bit with compassion. It started having its effect on me. It started pulling and flowing what was inside of me, through that crack in my shell, and just pulling it out. And then I got to see it. I got a glimpse of who I really am on the inside. And it's really, really emotionally overwhelming. I'm trying to describe it. It's like being cut open and seeing your own blood, seeing like what's inside of you, something that you you assumed was there, but you never... You know you have blood inside you, but you never really see it. And then, I mean, could you imagine, like, you be cut open and you see your own insides, whether it's muscle tissue, your own blood flowing out, or whatever, and it is just so overwhelming to a person. And that's the only analogy I can really think of. I started seeing, when people started treating me with compassion, and it started being very overwhelming to me because I'm not used to it, and it was just causing me to just kind of bleed through that crack. And then with this person I'm talking about, she's my age. Actually, I went to school with her in grade school back in the early 1990s for 4 years, and then I'm back in communication with her right now. She is so warm. So warm and she's so compassionate. She's very intelligent. She's intuitive. She's just everything that I would want a person to be. Her characteristics are causing me to interpret her as that. It's causing me to interpret her as that ideal, special someone for somebody like me. Somebody who's as unique as me. And it's overwhelming. And this person's been underneath my nose for 30 years. I just recently realized it. Oh my gosh, I feel such a powerful, deep personal connection with her. I mean, she's so intriguing, she's so wonderful. It's gravitational, is what it feels like. Sometimes when I think about her and just when I kind of ponder and just really analyze and think and like think about her and examine how she is as a person within the context of my life, and it is so emotionally overwhelming that I start crying so much. I just feel this powerful gravitational effect on me, and it makes me cry so much sometimes because of how sweetly wonderful she is and how much of what she matches of what I would envision my ideal special someone to be. And it makes me cry so much that it controls my body movements so much. Like, I was playing guitar, what was it, earlier this week or over the weekend or whatever. I was playing guitar and I was hitting some notes on my guitar, and it really reminded me of her, and I was so emotional that I started slumping over and just like almost going up in the fetal position and just leaning over, and it would have so much effect on my body. I mean, I felt like it's just, I mean, I lean over like I'm going to throw up, but I don't feel like throwing up. It's not that feeling at all. It's just my body moves like that, and I just feel such a deep personal psychological and emotional connection with this person that I've never experienced in my life. There's been other women out there, and I think, oh, that person looks hot. Oh, that person's pretty. Oh, well, I like, that person's really nice. But I'd never been in this situation to where I felt this profound gravitational force pulling at me so hard. So, like, you know, it's just overpowering, and just, she is so compassionate and warm, and she's that way to a fault. It, like, I mean, she is just, I mean, she's really the only person that I feel that way about. And I knew her for 4 years back in the early 1990s, and we lost communication back in the spring of 1995 as we changed schools. This was back before social media. So I went 25 years of lost communication with her. And it feels like the long road. Taking the long road back around, and then us crossing paths again. And she's still the warm person that she was in the early 1990s. So mature, so, oh my gosh, she's amazing. The first person in my whole life that I've ever felt such a deep connection with, that I just want to be around this person so much just to feel her radiant warmth and to experience just her brilliant mind. And I mean, I want to date her, but it's not exactly like romantic reasons. It's kind of difficult to describe, because I have difficulty kind of thinking of her physically. I mean, she's always been attractive, but now she's getting older. She's 39. That's having an effect on her. But just her personal character is just so beautifully developed, like some kind of masterpiece of art. And just how she handles things. I mean, she is the kind of person that this world needs in order to make peace of mind possible. And which gets her in these dilemmas she gets in, personally. And it's just, she's somebody that I could just learn the inner mysteries of humanity. It's so painful being confronted with the fact that I'm a human, because all my life I never really felt truly like a person. So I'd always bury myself in my hobbies and my work and my job. And that's the shell I talk about. And then recently I've been re-examining how everybody treats me and how people view me, and how I've acted in situations, and then just, you know, I've become so integral, to some people, like, you know, when I'm in the workforce or other things. That has been a benefit from burying myself, losing myself within my hobbies and my jobs, and it's really helped me on a lot of personal growth. But it's been like a very tough, hard iron shell that I've lived within, and I'd say almost like cast iron. And then the guy that was my boss at my job, he just hit it really hard, like with a hammer or something like that, or a chisel, who knows. When he raised his voice at me and told me that my problem is that I don't personally connect with people. He says that's one of my flaws, and then it just like a hammered a crack in that cast iron shell of my outer self, and then it's now leaking out my personal character and stuff, and I'm confronted with it. And now thinking about this, now I reevaluate and I re-examine my life. And I've had such a I realize that people have been trying to reach out to me my whole life, but I just couldn't understand it. There was things people knew that I didn't know. It's no surprise people didn't truly know me, because I didn't know myself either. That hard shell was just, it was such a barrier. Now I'm confronted with the fact that I'm a human. It was so much easier thinking of myself as some kind of machine, or some kind of genie that exists only to grant wishes, that exists only to serve other people. But now I'm changing, because I see what's within me, and it's just making me so much more open and directly honest about things. It's some major step in my personal development. And then recently I noticed a correlation between my musical skill and my thoughts and feelings and moods. I've been talking about my thoughts and feelings and moods in a lot of my videos since the fall of 2019. But it was only until the second week of May 2020, like this week, that I've noticed that correlation between my personal character development, me developing personally, and my musical skill. Because I noticed sometimes, like lately, I've been growing more by leaps instead of just an evolution. That's how I got callus on my middle finger from doing tapping technique, which tapping's been a mystery to me for decades, and along with some other stuff that I'm just now learning these techniques, and I'm so far behind on how good I could be as a musician. And just like I was so far behind on my emotional development for really the same periods of time, really, and this is how I started noticing there's a correlation. There's just how there's parallels going on between me. There's parallel. There was things that would parallel each other between me internally and then how my musical skill was. That's why, to me, my music is so much more personal, and it's like a readout, like some kind of graph, of like some kind of sensor readout of myself, and I wonder if it's that way for other people as well. Oh my gosh. Now it's so much easier for me to talk about my feelings, whereas a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, it was impossible. It was just, there's a lot I'm going through, and coming in contact with this female friend of mine from the early 1990s because she left a very lasting positive impression on me with something that, with a conversation she had with me back in, was it 1992, maybe 93, something like that. And it's almost like it marked me internally. And then I did not really understand it at the time, back in the early 1990s when I was a tween or a teenager. Well, it depends on, or my preteen years, but after my teens and 20s and 30s, after that's all gone and all these things that happened to me in my life, now that I've come back in contact with that female, that in a way had put a like a marker on me in my mind and emotionally, and now her and I are back in communication, and I'm learning who she is. And she's a very wonderful, wonderful person. And her and I both have the same modesty problem. That's why whenever she doubts that she's fascinating or interesting, I see right through it. Just right through it. We have a lot of similarities, and we can understand each other. Just by signature psychological characteristics, and I think she still thinks of me as just some dude. I don't think quite. No. Just the type of life. We've had different lives. I mean, I feel like I relate with her so much. Like, we're very similar people, but just lived our lives in different circumstances after we got out of school. I had no idea that her and I have so much in common. Like, in 1999, I didn't know this until last week, but in 1999, she started getting into information technology and getting into computer systems and all this kind of stuff like I was into big as a hobby during the same time period. And, I mean, she's, I work retail sales, so I have to find solutions for people for complex problems, and I have to really understand people and where they're coming from, and every customer that comes in the store, I have to run an investigation on them to find out why they're there and what I can do to help them, so they can leave the store satisfied, so we can survive the retail apocalypse. A lot of responsibility on me. And then she works at a school, a public school, and she's like, we see a lot of what's going on in society within people and how they develop. And I feel like I'm a colleague with her. We're different lines of work, but we both have to deal with people and with the public. And, we had some similar childhoods, her and I, and just she's... Oh my gosh. Oh man. I wish she could see herself the way that I see her. And maybe she will. She says she likes reading my messages, and it makes her feel so positive about herself. And, when she has her moments of modesty, I just, where she's reluctant to accept compliments, I really get very adamant and articulate and try to get through to her. I got the same modesty problems. I tell people I don't know everything. People look up to me to figure stuff out for them. They have for a long time. And I don't know all the answers, but also I don't like not knowing things. I don't like being at a disadvantage. My mind is so hungry and curious, since I'm eccentric type of personality. And I mean, I have to consume information and figure things out. I mean, just so many of my characteristics all come together to cause me to be such a unique person. Everybody says that they've never met anybody quite like me, and I've never really met somebody quite like this female friend of mine. She just stands out so beautifully, vividly colored against a surroundings of just dismal, yuck colors, or just bland, grayed out colors, or just, yeah. She's so amazing. She's the only person I can think about going long term with. I mean, very, very long term. The first person I've thought about being so long term with that it involves a ring. I never thought I'd even be that kind of person that could feel that way about anybody. But anyway, just, who knows. She's got this endeavor she's doing right now. She has to let it run its course and find out what direction her life's going to go in this time. But she's just a wonderful, wonderful person. Everybody looks up to me, usually, as if I'm going to be their savior on, like, figuring something out or being able to do something for them. But this woman, this girl I went to school with back in the early 90s is actually somebody that I really, really look up to. Because she's got such a warm, compassionate, golden heart. And a very, very fascinating mind. But anyway, let's get on this guitar practice. Alexa, what is the time and date?
It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 1:59 p.m.
Alright, so I got my Hughes Kettner TubeMeister 18 guitar amplifier and the Hughes Kettner TM112 speaker cabinet. So I believe that's a Celestian Vintage 30. I got my ZOOM G1X-FOUR multi-effects pedal. I got my, well, right now my Kramer Striker Custom model FR424CM is what I'm using right here. With DiMarzio Evolution humbuckers, neck and bridge, a 24 fret maple neck, maple fretboard, licensed Floyd Rose double locking tremolo, the Jackson Pro Series Soloist SL2Q MAH in the beautiful Caribbean blue fade. Needs a little more work done to set the neck properly. So I'm playing this this Kramer right now, which is about a $400 guitar. The Jackson is well, this one here, I have to look at it again. It's maybe a $400 guitar. Usually under $400 guitars, you got a bolt-on neck, 24 fret maple fretboard, and then humbucker rings to mount the pickups. Usually don't have direct wood mount, and you get a licensed Floyd Rose tremolo for the $400 price point. So these features are common in this guitar to the $400 price point. Regardless of brand. And then the Jackson is a $1,000 guitar. It was $1,300 list price, but now they just set it at $1,000. That Jackson's got a through the body neck, direct to body humbuckers, an actual official Floyd Rose tremolo. Really got better metal, and so now I'm gonna start this up here. And I just want to set the right expectations here. I am not a jukebox. I don't learn other people's songs. Yeah, I kind of like to, but my music is very personal to me. I'm on like the self-discovery part of my life. That's why I have to conduct social experiments on myself. I have to really analyze and understand things and test and figure out and get an understanding of things so I can make the proper decisions and do what I'm supposed to do to have positive outcomes. And my music is very personal. Like I said, it's like a readout of like how I am internally. And I'm doing song development. So you're going to hear a lot of repetitive stuff as I try to get everything right. You just gotta be patient and understand that. You know, if you want to hear somebody rock out some AC/DC songs or some Metallica or some country music, then go on YouTube and watch those people. You know, go to those venues, or put those songs on Spotify. I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn about myself and do it through music. So just understand that, okay? Let's do the lead channel on that. See, it was when I learned this little thing right here. Learning this beautiful music, like I said, what's leaking out of me is like my own internal feelings and who I am. And it's coming out, and you can hear it through the fretboard. But, I mean, it's rare for me to ever cry in my life. Like I said, I was ironclad. I was Mr. No Emotion. I had to be. I mean, that's how you keep your job. You know, you just suppress yourself. But it came at a cost. I was not learning who I was because I was not dealing with my emotions. I was hiding them. I was compressing them. I was burying them. I buried them deep. And like I said, my former boss, my boss at the time, when we both worked together at the same place, he seen a problem with me, and he raised his voice and kind of yelled at me, and just when he says, what did he say? I remember what it meant, but like, how did he start saying it? It's like, look, Mr. Naugle, here's what I'm going to tell you. Your problem is you don't connect with people. You don't personally connect with people. That's your problem. And he was raising his voice and really kind of yelling that at me, and I don't think that you should negatively view him for that, because he's right. He made a very good point. And what he did was necessary. He did the right thing, in my opinion. Because if he didn't do that, first of all, that's my intervention. That's one of my major interventions in my life, to be able to begin the next stage of personal development. So he was in the right. He did the right thing, in my view. Sometimes the right thing is not always immediately understood by people, you know. That's something that I learned. I mean, there's the way we think things should be. There's the way they actually should be. There's the way things actually are. There's the things we have to settle for. I mean, there's just so much. When people see things as just right or wrong, you know, like Star Wars, you know, and then getting into, like, you know, things being freedom and oppression, you know, things being right or wrong, you know, where you have these two very concise, kind of like either or if you're going to use binary logic, you know, either or Boolean logic, like that, that does not provide enough detail to be able to solve things. I mean, it really doesn't. You need, no, I'm not going to get into a bunch of computer analogies, but, I mean, I can, but it's just going to be time consuming right now, and that's not the purpose of this video. Gosh, I mean, my whole life has been such a mystery to me. Now I'm confronted with, I got to do the work to figure it all out. That's why I conduct social experiments, just see. I mean, it's like scientific experiments, but I apply it to like learning people. See how people react in a situation. Sometimes I have to get somebody to make fun of me, to really open up the communication with them, to kind of ease the tension, just all kind of stuff I got to do. And I really, really strive to do the right thing, and I've learned that just digging deeper, just bury my feelings and my thoughts and emotions, and to really kind of hide from things just has not served me well. Like I said, I would bury myself, my feelings, my emotions, everything just so deep underneath a protective shell, like a barrier, so that they did not come out and affect me. Because social interactions are very much like a minefield. You have to know where to step and where not to step, or else these situations blow up at you. And one hit me really bad in 2011. And ever since then, I've had to learn how that was possible. I had to learn so much. And there's a lot of stuff I learned, but I was still buried. Myself was still buried deep within that outer shell of what I project myself of being. Until 2019, like I said, that guy, my former boss, just cracked my shell. Didn't break it totally open. Didn't break it completely apart. Just put a crack in there, so it's not sealed up perfectly tight. And then stuff started. My thoughts and feelings and emotions started leaking out, and then the shell started to crumble in some of the areas as more of this pressure. Because, like I said, being in certain situations, and when people would show compassion toward me, it would have like a gravitational pull, and it would pull these thoughts and feelings and emotions out of me, and they would just start to rush out so much that they eroded that crack and made it even bigger. And this one person that's very important to me right now, this female friend of mine, I told her that I love her. I mean, for my friends that have known me for a long time, that's something that I did not think that I, Kristian Naugle, could do. I didn't think that I could. I wasn't honest with myself. I didn't ever really develop feelings for a person quite like that. Not even my girlfriends. Of course, they were dysfunctional, and I had to break up with them, and I made that decision to get them out of my lives because they were just not on my personal level. And I've only had 2 girlfriends in my life. The first one was when I turned 30 years old. I didn't even start dating until I was 30. That's how bad my problem was. And me just being so oblivious to who I really am, and me not knowing myself really, and like I said, me being within that hard shell of what I project myself of being. I have friend-zoned and snubbed so many women since the 1990s, and I feel bad about it now, because I really should not have been that way. I should have had conversations with them and just chat with them and get to know them better. And even if I did not want to date them, I still should have been a friend to them, and been like a good human to them. But so many of them I would just snub, and that's because that's all I knew. That's how a lot of people were to me. Like I said, I was so confused so much of my life. I would just imitate things because I didn't truly understand them. So I would just imitate them at a superficial level, and I guess that's why I snubbed so many women. And I don't feel too bad. I don't beat myself up too bad about it, because after all, what if these people were not a good match for me? What if they were just not my type of person? What if them and I just were not compatible? And and then so many women will snub and friend zone or even ghost me, even when I'm just trying to be friends. back in the summer of 2016, this one woman that I didn't even know, I mean, she pulls up beside me at the Harrison County Fairgrounds as I park my vehicle. And the dude that's in the vehicle, I thought he was, I mistook him for somebody else. He looked so similar to one of my friends of mine on Facebook that I went to school with but never talked to back then. So I thought it was that same person, you know, who always likes and comments on my post. And I looked over, like, out my door and, you know, and said to him through the window, I said, oh, so you like that post that I did the other day? And, you know, I didn't know this guy was a total stranger. And he's looked so confused. I was like, aren't you so-and-so? And then the woman that was in the car with him that was driving and parked, that was operating the vehicle, she said, no, he's not, but I'm so-and-so. You know, as if I'm supposed to know who she is. So now that I got a name, I eventually looked her up on Facebook and sent her a friend request because I assumed she told me her name because she wanted me to get to know her or something. I sent her a friend request and she deleted it within a half an hour. I'm like, what's that about? You know, this is just so much mysterious, confusing stuff in my life. And it affects me as I try to figure things out and try to learn how I should be. And so I don't blame myself too hard, but I do blame myself a lot because I'm in control of myself. I'm responsible. I'm responsible for myself. I can't control everybody else, but I can control myself. So I really try to learn and probe and experiment and just desperately try to find answers, try to make sense of my life. Because, I mean, my whole life has been a mystery. Like I said, almost all my life I never even felt like a person. I mean, it kind of did not even matter to me whether I lived or died. I felt like I had no actual purpose. I felt like such an anomaly that did not belong in this world. I mean, the truth is, you know, if I die, whether it's by diabetes from eating all these Cadbury cream eggs that I really enjoy, or die from some heart disease that I did not know was in my family, or die in a car wreck, or whatever else, you know, like, the world is, the earth is going to keep spinning on its axis, and life is going to go on. I mean, yes, it's going to have an effect on people's lives, who are around me, and whose lives are impacted by me, but I have to accept the fact that ultimately life goes on. I mean, I've learned so much to know how much I have yet to learn. And I see myself as the journey is partway there. Yeah, I covered a lot of ground and made a lot of progress toward being where I want to be, you know, as a person, or on this journey to understanding myself. But there's so much more work left to go, you know. I mean, I can see there's still a lot of road ahead. And there's been major milestones, to use a metaphor or whatever, but I'm not finished yet. You know, I mean, we all have to do more and more to discover and develop more of ourselves and be what we want to be, to have that inner peace in life. But anyway, let me get back to doing some more guitar practice. There's some that I want to play, and it's like reading between the lines, and I gotta figure out what it is. When you learn to play something beautiful like this, seeing that red reflecting off the guitar, I thought my fingers were bleeding. I'm sorry. Like I said, something beautiful like this. So it is a G note. saw with the DiMarzio Evolution neck humbucker, the DP158. Let's see how the DP159, the bridge humbucker, affects me. Late boost. Let's try that again. working on my flowing legato technique, something that Steve Vai does a whole lot. He's somebody who's a big influence on me. I better call it quits for right now. I got other stuff to do. Gotta get some hydration before I lose my voice again. Oh man, I really enjoyed that. That was really great and soothing. So it's, I don't know if this is like therapy to me. I don't know. Is it? I mean, just to talk about my feelings, to play it out. And then whenever I play kind of repetitive, yeah, I'm practicing. I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. But sometimes I just let go and explore around and wonder where the music takes me, like I did in the last 5 minutes of this recording or whatever. Sometimes I improvise really fascinating stuff, but let me know what you think. If you're watching this video, you want to comment or whatever. Keep in mind I'm very different. A lot of people impose their expectations on me. They see me as having capabilities, and they wish that they can get control of them, because I guess I got abilities that other people wish they had. Some people say, well, you need to play this music or that music. I'm like, well, if you want it done, you can go do it yourself. There's nothing stopping you, really. It's stuff I gotta learn. I've only been back into the guitar for almost 11 months. I had to relearn everything right over. I had to learn everything all over again. I forgot almost everything there is to know about a guitar. Forgot what the notes were. Forgot all the songs I wrote except for one little piece, in which I've almost entirely forgotten that, because I just, there's other scales I gotta learn, other musical keys. Oh yeah, there's a lot more progress to do, but I'm just kind of exploring and learning and getting reacquainted with the musical instrument and the process of making music. Learning more of the techniques and that sort of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I wish I could play on the guitar. But you gotta understand how much progress I've made since the beginning of when I started. Alexa, what is the time and date?
It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 3:44 p.m.
And my name's Kristian Naugle. I spell that Kristianaugle. I'm sorry. I spelled it out because a lot of people get it wrong. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. And until next time, enjoy.